Right, so hello and welcome back to another 90 Day Fiancé video on Arthur TV. Today we're back for part 4 of 41-year-old Danielle and her 26-year-old Tunisian husband Mohamed. So last time out we looked at Danielle and Mohamed's wedding day. On the morning they were supposed to be getting married, Mohamed went to go see a lawyer to figure out if marrying Danielle was the right decision. After being told that he may have to wait at least a year to get his green card and that he may end up with financial burdens as a result of Danielle's money issues, he started having some serious doubts about whether he should go through with it. However, after returning home to a visibly distraught Danielle, the pair had a desperate conversation in which she promised him things would change and that she'd be more transparent about her finances, so Mohamed agreed to go ahead with the wedding. The pair got married in a simple ceremony, and after what had been an uncertain few months, things were finally looking up for their relationship. However, less than 2 weeks have now passed since their wedding day, and things have already gone rapidly downhill. After once again failing to pay her overdue bills, Danielle's electricity got shut off, and as a result, Mohamed left. Not knowing where he's gone or if he's even coming back, Danielle has once again been left heartbroken.
He leaves me. He's leaving 3 girls that love and care about him. That's a whole family he's affecting. I want him here. I need him here. He makes me a better person.
It's never nice to see someone in tears, but the way she cries makes it so hard to empathise with her. It's like she's wailing in slow motion. Also, surely that didn't come as a massive shock to her. Mohamed leaving Danielle just 2 weeks after marrying her is perhaps one of the least surprising things to happen in 90 Day Fiancé history. I mean, this has so far been one of the most polarising couples I have ever covered. Half of you think Mohamed's a horrible person for scamming Danielle and think that she's just a sweet old lady who you pity for her desperation. And the other half of you absolutely detest her, think she's a massive baby, and think Mohamed's just a nice guy looking for a better quality of life. But one thing very few of you guys disagree on is the fact that this relationship seemed doomed from the start. Mohamed never really showed any kind of interest in or genuine connection with Danielle, so given there was no particularly obvious reason he would want to be with her other than the green card, after they got married it seemed like only a matter of time before he ended up leaving.
He's allowed to be upset, but it's not fair that he gets to run off. All of us have to deal with it, but he can't. It's like he's weak. I have hope that it's only because of all the bills, the money, and me losing my job. I don't really care if he comes or goes. I feel like his plan was to get married and then leave and just live somewhere else do whatever he wants, really. He just needed her to get here.
It's kind of mad how Danielle's daughters are literally more mature than her. They're so much more realistic too. Danielle hoping that he's just gone for the money, rather than acknowledging the fact that he probably is just using her for the green card, is just such desperate wishful thinking at this point, isn't it? I can kind of see why Mohamed might leave if he had somewhere to go with electricity and hot water, but to disappear completely without saying where he's going and for how long just shows that there's so much more to it than just the living conditions themselves. I think it's likely that Danielle was once again hiding her money problems from him, and he didn't find out until the electricity literally got shut off. And given that means that she broke the promise she made to him on the morning of their wedding day, it was probably just the last straw and he left. It's kind of hard to say either way though, because when he came back 5 days later, he wouldn't even give his side of the story.
I'm not responsible of what others thinking of me. I can leave, I can come back, I can do whatever. I'm free. I do whatever I want, I go wherever I want, and I'm not forced to explain why.
As much as he might be a free man in many ways, he is married now. That does come with some responsibilities, and I feel like if he wants to disappear for days at a time, he should at least tell his wife where he's going. I feel like there's quite a big culture clash going on here in terms of the power dynamic between the two of them.
Are you gonna stay here now?
I didn't decide. I don't know. I didn't take my last decision. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I want to stop everything. It doesn't matter. It's enough. What's happened to me, it's enough.
Given they've been having these financial problems and he's been entirely relying on Danielle since he got to the US, a lot of you guys have been leaving comments asking why he didn't have any of his own money saved up before he arrived. So I did some research and apparently he kind of did. He was actually working in Doha, Qatar in warehouse logistics when he and Danielle applied for the K1 visa. Knowing that he was now going to be moving to the US, rather than spending money on renewing his work permit for Qatar, which he no longer needed, he decided to use some of his money to go home to Tunisia to spend some time with family and friends before moving to the other side of the world. Unfortunately though, the K1 visa took around 4 months to go through, and by the time the process had finished, he had burnt through almost all of his savings just on living costs. So he actually did have some of his own money saved up, they just hadn't planned for the process to take that long. To ensure that he'd still come to the US, however, Danielle promised him that she'd still be able to financially support him until they got married and he could get a job, which was why he was so angry when he found out that that was a lie. Looking back, this definitely makes his reaction to finding out that she has money problems in the second video a whole lot more justifiable. Also, once Mohamed finally did obtain the right to work in the US, he actually did step up. Unfortunately, the season actually ended after that last clip and the camera stopped rolling for a few months, but when they finally came back, around a year after the wedding, Mohamed had actually gotten a job and was working 13-hour shifts every day. And perhaps even more surprisingly, he and Danielle were actually still together.
Me and Mohamed are still married. Me and Mohamed are intimate. We kiss, we hug, but we do it in private.
How are you?
Fine, how are you?
We are like every other married couple.
They're just not, are they? Only on 90 Day Fiancé are couples like this even remotely normal. One of the few things they actually do have in common with normal married couples is that they have their fair share of problems. When Mohamed's work permit came through, Danielle rather bluntly asked him if he wanted to stay with her, and surprisingly, he said yes. He then began looking for jobs, but unfortunately, a lot of the jobs he wanted weren't in Ohio. Danielle, however, said that she didn't really mind, and that she'd be happy to move anywhere as long as he'd be able to continue to support her and the girls, which I'm guessing meant that she wanted to become a stay-at-home mum. In return, Mohamed said that he wouldn't make any final decision without her, and started firing off applications. He ended up going to New York, Las Vegas, and South Carolina, all apparently for job interviews, but unfortunately he was unsuccessful. Now, not getting a job from only 3 interviews isn't particularly unusual, but Danielle couldn't help but get suspicious, in part because of what was going on social media. Whilst he was out in New York, Mohamed was spotted by a lot of 90 Day Fiancé fans who had watched the previous season. When people started uploading the selfies they had taken with him, people on the internet started to realise that he wasn't wearing his wedding ring in any of the photos. This started fueling speculation on social media that he was being unfaithful, and a couple of women on social media seemed to confirm this by claiming that they had slept with Mohamed whilst he was away on these trips. And to make matters worse, one woman even claimed that Mohamed had gotten her pregnant. Now, whilst there was no hard evidence for any of the cheating rumours, they started taking their toll on the relationship.
People were making different comments that he's only here for the green card, and if this is true, then he needs to be deported back and stuff like that. A little part of me is believing that it's not true, and then a part of me is believing it is true. I feel pulled in different directions, so it's hard.
It's difficult to say whether this was just people trolling Danielle because they saw her as an easy target, or if it was actually true. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if Mohamed had been unfaithful to Danielle. The fact that she said that they kiss and hug when talking about intimacy but said nothing else strongly suggests that they still don't sleep with each other a year into their marriage. If that is the case, I very much doubt that that was Danielle's decision. And if he's not getting it from her, he's almost certainly getting it from someone else, isn't he? Sadly, the whole cheating scandal is just one of many problems the couple are facing, And it's not even just their own relationship that's under pressure because of all of them. In the first few videos leading up to the wedding, a lot of Danielle's friends and family were very suspicious about Mohamed's intentions, but they did at least seem willing to give him a chance, and they were actually pretty nice to him. But within just the first few months of their marriage, any family approval of Mohamed or the relationship disintegrated. In an effort to try and begin reconciling her family life and her love life, Danielle took her daughters out for a day of mini golf, where she asked them how they really feel about Mohamed.
The way that he was when he first came here, we were all happy with him. And then, like, right before the wedding, he just decided to change.
Sometimes I just feel like my mom's in denial.
I don't feel like there's any connection between him and my mom. I don't feel like they're really married. Like, basically, I feel like they're forcing themselves on each other.
When the first daughter said that Mohamed changed, she was understating it quite a lot. Apparently just 1 month into their marriage, Danielle and Mohamed started screaming at each other whenever they got into an argument, and the daughters began hating him because of it. Now, they apparently fight all the time, and he often threatens her with divorce when they do. It's even gotten so bad that the police have been called on numerous occasions. At this point in the relationship, Danielle had 10 police reports filed against her for these domestic disputes. With nights like that happening regularly, it is no surprise at all that the daughters who are caught in the middle of it all don't like him anymore and want him gone. I think it's also fair to say that Danielle deserves a lot of criticism for allowing her daughters to grow up in such an unstable and toxic environment. And aside from the trauma of having to experience that all on a regular basis, what is it teaching them about love and relationships and how to expect to be treated by their partners? Also, her daughters aren't even the only ones that she's letting down in all of this. In part 1, Danielle's oldest child, her son Corey, was the first person to raise concerns about Mohamed's intentions. He confronted him about it at the time, and although he said he was willing to let Mohamed prove him wrong, he didn't feel like that ever really happened. So after Danielle and Mohamed got married, Corey confronted Mohamed again, accusing him of using his mum to get a green card. Mohamed obviously didn't take this well, and things quickly got out of hand.
It escalated, and I threatened to throw him out the window, and he was telling me to do it, and then I just walked away after he started to call the cops.
Corey had to go to court, and he got sentenced, and Corey's not allowed around Mohamed for 2 years. It is hard for me because it makes it hard. I have to go somewhere else to see Corey.
The consequences of the confrontation are actually pretty serious. For the next 2 years, Corey can't be within 500 feet of Mohamed and can't have any kind of association or communication with him. On top of that, Corey received a 30-day suspended jail sentence, received a $150 fine, and was ordered to pay court costs.
Well, I've got a new job, and with the charge and everything, it's hard for me to get a job because a lot of people look at that and they just assume I'm a violent person when I'm really not.
I mean, he did threaten to throw Mohamed out a window, but to be fair to him, the charge he got was actually domestic violence, which may sound a little worse to employers than it actually is. You actually only need to cause someone to believe that you're about to cause them harm, rather than actually causing them harm, to satisfy the requirements of the charge, which arguably isn't quite as serious as domestic violence makes it sound. Still, threatening to throw someone out a window is still a pretty violent thing to do.
I kind of feel like you took his side by not coming to the court hearing when if you would have showed up, they probably would have changed the charge to where it would have been as bad.
It's hard because you're my son and then he's my husband. So I feel like I'm having to choose between two people that I care about.
As a mother, how is she struggling to choose between her partner of 1 year and her literal firstborn child? Also, they might be married, but it's even a bit of a stretch to call what she has with Mohamed a relationship in the first place. How is she struggling to not choose that over her own son? It's not even like she was going to be the prosecutor either. To not show up and just support her son is so poor from her. On a side note, this smiling thing is getting creepier and creepier. Whenever someone's talking to her about something serious, she's always smiling like a psychopath. I know that's slightly hypocritical coming from me, but still. He's there being like, I'm disappointed you weren't there for me, mum, and she's sat there with a big grin across her face. It's so odd. When Corey was trying to figure out why she was even still with Mohamed the way things were going, he brought up all the cheating rumours, and she's just so clearly still in denial about it all.
Right now, there's no proof, and I'm trusting Mohamed right now until otherwise.
I just think he should go back and everything. It's just been too much ever since he came here. What's it gonna take for you to finally just put an end to it?
I genuinely don't get what she's still clinging on for. This relationship is literally tearing her family apart, and I can't see one benefit she's getting out of it, let alone anything that makes all of this worth it. It even brought her close to financial ruin at one point. They actually got evicted from the last house they were in. Like, I know she's desperate for love, but surely there comes a point where you're just better off alone. Given things were going so badly on all fronts, Danielle finally decided to have a heart-to-heart with Mohamed and figure out what was going wrong.
You've been here a year now,
Mm-hmm.
and we've been married 10 months now.
Yeah.
So how do you think it's going?
To be honest, it's not going very well. I'm not happy with like many things, like the drama part. For me, when I think about it, I feel like I lost 1 year of my life just for nothing.
Will that wipe the smile off her face? You know, I do actually now just pity her. I mean, I know she brought it all on herself, but it's actually hard watching someone throw their life away like this. And arguably Mohamed's doing the exact same thing. I mean, I can't imagine he's sitting there thinking this is going to get any better, because what's going to change? I mean, it's hard to see any reason for him to want to still be around, other than the fact that he's going to have to apply for his permanent residence green card again in a year's time, and have the authenticity of his relationship scrutinized again.
The social media has taken a toll on us.
No, on you, not on us. You know very well that I am ignoring everything, even family members. People, they are saying I have girlfriends and that stuff. That's wrong. I have no girlfriends. I don't even have any friend.
Wow, who'd have thought Mohamed could be so relatable? On a serious note though, this is exactly what I mean. It sounds like such a sad life for him too. Perhaps this is my ignorance talking, but how bad could life have possibly been where this is better? Like, he wasn't even living in Tunisia, he was living and working in Qatar, which, as we spoke about in the Laura and Aladdin saga, is a very wealthy country with very decent living standards. A part of me believes the cheating rumours just because it's surely the only thing keeping him going at this point, and I think even Danielle's starting to believe them too.
Okay, I have the right to go wherever I want.
But when you go on those trips, it bugs me because you don't want to take me with you.
Did you try to go with me or ask to go with me or something like that, and they say, no, don't go with me, I have to go by myself?
No.
Then what are you talking about?
Okay, that is actually a fair point and does make quite a big difference here. I wonder if Danielle just wants him to want to take her. I mean, she's only human. Maybe she just wants to feel like he actually wants to be with her as much as possible. I think it's probably becoming quite clear to her that after 3 trips away, given he hasn't asked to bring her once, that he just wants some time away from her. Even if it isn't just to see friends and family or cheat on her, it's not hugely surprising, is it? It just seems like their whole relationship is kind of bound together by a contract. Love and affection and stuff like that just don't ever seem to really come into any of it. Maybe she's also just too scared to ask because him saying no would confirm all of her fears.
All the crazy stuff that people are saying is not true. They know that you are a weak person. They are trying to make fun of you. I'm not responsible of what people saying. Okay, I'm responsible.
But you're allowing this woman to
alone.
talk.
I'm not alone.
And accusing you.
I'm not alone. And I said we don't talk about this, okay? If you're gonna keep doing the same things, I'm not ready to spend all my life doing this kind of stuff.
I know.
To be honest, I'm telling you.
This is another one where context is quite important, isn't it? I mean, if they've had this discussion a million times and he keeps saying it's not true and they keep going around in circles, What else can he really do? You can't have a healthy relationship where one of you keeps bringing up the same issue over and over again, where there's just no potential for it to get anywhere. But then again, if he's just sweeping the problem under the rug and refusing to give any explanation to any of her questions, then she has every right to keep bringing it up. And that's a problem that does need resolving. Or maybe it's just her wanting reassurance again, like with the trips. Maybe she just keeps bringing it up in the hopes that one day he's going to turn around and be like, "You're my wife, I love you, I don't want to be with anyone else. I have never and would never choose anyone over you." Maybe if he gave her that little bit of reassurance, she'd finally be able to get over it.
Now I feel like I'm paying for something I never did. If you don't trust me, there is no reason to be together and married. I am here for you. I am not here for the green card. And you know very well, I'm ready to leave anytime.
I know.
Anytime. If my marriage doesn't work out, I will get my divorce and I will go back to my country. It's easy.
Reassuring words on the face of it, but honestly, what is he waiting for? How could this marriage possibly not work out any more than it already is? He clearly has no interest in her, he's working 13-hour shifts at a job he hates, her family doesn't like him, and he has no friends. How could this possibly get worse?
I trust you.
Okay then, if you believe me, just stay away from the drama and Facebook and social media and let us have a normal life. That's the best thing we can do right now.
Okay.
This whole thing is actually so depressing. They've both so clearly just completely given up on the relationship. Mohamed is basically just biding his time until he gets the green card, almost like he's serving a jail sentence. And Danielle's too desperate and insecure to genuinely believe that there's someone out there for her to leave him for. It's just such a sad existence for both of them. With both of them this unhappy and struggling to even begin working on their problems, it's only a matter of time before all this built up resentment comes to a climax. Unfortunately though, that is all we have time for today, so if you want to find out what happens next, make sure you're subscribed down below so you don't miss out. If you enjoyed today's video, feel free to leave a like down below and of course comment to let me know what you think of the story so far. As always, the links to my Instagram, Twitter and other social media will be down below, so feel free to come drop me a follow to keep up with the channel, help me decide what future videos to make, or just say hi in between uploads. I'd also just like to give a very quick shout out to my Patreon supporters for supporting me and the channel over on Patreon. Thank you for watching and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.